All right, welcome back. So, oops, I've got my mic is running hot here. So I'm gonna adjust that. It looks a lot better now. Hopefully, mic issues are very hard. So now there's a difference that the kind of people who follow this channel a lot might be noticing, and that is I have a camera. Hooray! So let me actually walk through what I used to use and what I'm using now, because I think this could be helpful to other people out there. So what I used to use was a $50 or so webcam. It only did it was something like this. In fact, I think this is the exact one that I used. Yeah, this is the exact one that I used. So this was working great for a while. I was actually a really big fan of this. It just one day it just stopped working. So that I wasn't a fan of, but I was a fan of the of it while it lasted. So I upgraded. I upgraded to a Panasonic V981. And let me tell you, this thing here, a little bit more expensive. Well, a lot bit more expensive. My other one was $50. This is nearly $1,000. It's $800, but that gives you some room to work with. To have a setup for under $1,000. I also have a tripod, so you can get a tripod for under $50 really easily. You take your pick. The one I have is I have one I'm really happy with. It's not any of these. And then I also have a card, and that's what can be. That can add a lot of expense to it too. So it's not. I thought about getting this other one here, but it's over $1,000. This one's under $1,000. So there we go. That was the price was right for that for me, because you also have to get a card, and we can see here that you can get a card for very cheap, but it doesn't have much storage. It's UHS-1, which is going to take forever to transfer the files to your computer. So I got a nice card. I got a UHS-2 card. Yeah, so if you get a nice card with a lot of space, I guess more important than that is oh, I don't know why this one's so inexpensive. It's a Prime deal, but anyway, these are kind of the prices that oh, you know what? It might be because it's not a V60. Oh wow. Okay, well, get this card. I don't know why this is so. Why such a nice card is so inexpensive. I think I paid about $100 for the card I have, and this is a V90. I'm not sure exactly which card I have, but my point is that it adds up. And I also had to get like a cable. So all in all, I have a setup that's worth probably around $1,000. I'm really happy with it. I use it to record all sorts of things. I actually took a picture of the moon. It looks like it's no longer working, which is not good. So I'll deactivate and reactivate. And it looks like it's still no longer working, which is even worse. It's not able to be fixed easily, which is something very bad. So with that, I guess I will scratch the video, because I don't know why my camera is just. Oh, you know what? It's probably out of batteries. So let me check that. So take the camera, unplug the HDMI micro, and check the battery. Yeah, the battery only lasts for like 2 hours, so you do have to. Oh, well, that's interesting. I have a full. Oh, the power turned itself off due to like an economy mode. So, well, that's too bad. But you know what? It's okay. So I'll remove the I'll remove the hide that. All right. Okay, and then I want to get some power back to this this camcorder. Which I'm having trouble doing. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, it's a really good choice. I'm really happy with it. Camera stuff. I'm sure anyone who's really into like filming stuff, photography. They're gonna tell you like it can add up. You can we can see like even just the cards themselves. You could blow nearly $200 on just one of these cards, and it would be a good purchase because you can transfer the files in a matter of minutes rather than hours. So you can blow all kinds of money on the little tiniest thing, and then have to buy a second one for like backup storage, or something like that. So a very, very expensive hobby. I am the fact that I'm into it for under $1,000 pretty much. And the setup I have, which unfortunately I'm working the kinks out now. We can see I didn't get that to work, but I just wanted to talk about that because if I can do it, anyone can do it. Obviously, as we've seen in the channel, I started my first video just with my laptop webcam, and my laptop was a cheap piece of junk where the battery blew up and swelled up. So I just want this channel to be inspiring to others, because it's garbage. I'm putting out garbage here. I think you can do better. So I think a lot of people watching this can do better. So I want that to be inspiring. But I am gonna up my game once I get this camera working. Once I figure out how to use the camcorder better. I just love this. It's so much fun. It's it's a camcorder, right? So like for me, when I think of camcorders, I think of people in the 80s with these giant things on their shoulders. But they're not like that anymore. They're like, it's like carrying a soda can with you wherever you go. It's really convenient to use, and we can see it even it literally is like carrying a soda can. Like even when it's running, you can have the lid closed and turned inside out like that. So it's got Wi-Fi, it's got features like it can be used remotely on your phone. It's not an old, outdated, archaic piece of technology. It is camcorders are still produced today, and they're still sold for very high prices because they're worth such a high price. So a camcorder isn't some legacy thing. They're still very much being sold, and they're still very much a potentially good purchase. All right, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'll get that going eventually, but for now, let's talk about the last week. So last week I had something come up. I was busy, so I couldn't make any progress on Mbsr. That's a little bit unfortunate because I've only got 2 weeks left, so I have to push everything back a week, but that's okay. I did finish quite a bit of week 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to push everything back just by 1 week, and we're going to devote another week to finishing up week 7, and then we're going to next week do week 8, and that will be the end of the course. So let's take a look at where we are with week 7. All right, so week 7, all we need to do is the 2 readings here. Does mindfulness make you more compassionate? And the 5 myths of self-compassion. we also need to do supplemental exercise and the informal / formal. So let's start with that. Let's open both of those. So here's the week 7 formal and the week 7 informal. Okay, so for the week 7 formal, now obviously the dates are going to be quite a bit different. So let's see if I can do one I don't know if I can do it today. I can definitely do an informal for today. And then I've just got one more remaining. I might want to do some extras to make up for that time away. But I'll just change the dates for now and then take a look at the informal. All right. I've got all kinds of typos here, so I'll... Okay. All right, so yeah, mindful awareness is the easy one. We can also do mindful eating, the stop exercise and turning toward. So I think I want to do mindful eating. But I want to do that tomorrow. All right, and then I'll log an entry for that tomorrow. All right, and then additionally, I'll do I'm already far behind, so let's have this be done for tomorrow as well. Tonight, I want the thing that came up kind of threw my sleep schedule out of whack, so I want to get to bed early to get back on track with my sleep habits. So let's see here. So I've got a bunch of typos here. All right, so now we're gonna pause it and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let's make it a goal to get a reading done. Those readings can sometimes take a while, so that'll be a good thing to have done. And it looks like the site was actually updated recently, which is kind of cool. We've got checkboxes now. Yeah, it looks a little bit different. But let's try to get this reading done because the readings can take a while. Now I am going to give some extra time for week 7 because I had that interruption. So we don't have to go at a very fast pace at all. All right, so let's get started. This is from Greater Good, The Science of a Meaningful Life, published more than 10 years ago, about 11 years ago. So does mindfulness make you more compassionate? And this is by Shauna Shapiro. Mindfulness is more than just moment-to-moment awareness, says Shauna Shapiro. It is a kind, curious awareness that helps us relate to ourselves and others with compassion. I attended my first meditation retreat in Thailand 17 years ago. When I arrived, I didn't know very much about mindfulness, and I certainly didn't speak any Thai. At the monastery, I vaguely understood the teachings of the beautiful Thai monk who instructed me to pay attention to the breath coming in and out of my nostrils. It sounded easy enough, so I sat down and attempted to pay attention. 16 hours a day, and very quickly I had my first big realization. I was not in control of my mind. I was humbled and somewhat distraught by how much my mind wandered. I would attend to one breath, two breaths, maybe three, and then my mind was gone, lost in thoughts, leaving my body sitting there an empty shell. Frustrated and impatient, I began to wonder, why can't I do this? Everyone else looks like they're sitting so peacefully. What's wrong with me? On the fourth day, I met with a monk from London who asked how I was doing. It was the first time I had spoken in 4 days, and out of my mouth came a deluge of the anxieties I had been carrying around with me. I'm a terrible meditator. I can't do it. I'm trying so hard, and every time I try harder, I get even more tangled up. Meditation must be for other, more spiritual, calmer kinds of people. I don't think this is not the right path for me, which is a double negative in kind of a weird way. He looked at me with compassion and a humorous twinkle in his eye. Oh dear, you're not practicing mindfulness. He told me you are practicing impatience, judgment, frustration, and striving. Then he said 5 words that profoundly affected my life. What you practice becomes stronger. This wisdom has now been well documented by the science of neuroplasticity, which shows that our repeated experiences shape our brains. The monk explained to me that mindfulness is not just about paying attention, but also about how you pay attention. He described a compassionate, kind attention where instead of becoming frustrated when my mind wandered, I could actually become curious about my mind meandering about, holding this experience in compassionate awareness. Instead of being angry at my mind or impatient with myself, I could inquire gently and benevolently into what it felt like to be frustrated or impatient. In this way, I began to cultivate kindness toward myself, as well as a sense of interest and curiosity for my lived experience. I started to practice infusing my intention with care and compassion, similar to a parent attending to a young child, saying to myself, I care about you, I'm interested, tell me about your experience. Understanding this connection between mindfulness and compassion has been transformational, helping me embrace myself and my experience with greater kindness and care. It has also deeply informed my clinical and academic work. In my writing and research, I've explicitly articulated a model of mindfulness that includes the attitudes of how we pay attention. Instead of trying to control or judge our experience, we take an interest in it with attitudes of compassion and openness. We are cultivating awareness, yes, but it is important to acknowledge the human dimension of that awareness. It is not a sterile, mechanical awareness. Rather, it is a kind, curious, and compassionate awareness. Research has started to document empirical evidence of this connection between mindfulness and compassion, consistently finding over the past 2 decades that mindfulness increases empathy and compassion for others and for oneself. For example, in my first research publication, published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine in 1998, we found that John Kabat-Zinn's 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction Mbsr program significantly increased empathy in medical students. Another study that my colleagues and I conducted, published in the International Journal of Stress Management in 2005, concluded that Mbsr training increased self-compassion in healthcare professionals. More recently, we examined the impact of mindfulness training on counseling psychology students and discovered that it significantly increased self-compassion, which in turn led to declines in stress and negative emotion and increases in positive emotion. Basically, the research shows that mindfulness increases empathy and compassion for others and for oneself, and that such attitudes are good for you. To me, that affirms that when we practice mindfulness, we are simultaneously strengthening our skills of compassion, evidence that mindfulness isn't simply about sharpening attention. Yet, what we don't know is precisely how mindfulness produces these positive effects. Answering this question is an important next step for future research and exploration. so that we can better understand the precise elements and active ingredients essential to mindfulness training. Although there is not much research focused specifically on how mindfulness helps us cultivate compassion and empathy, I can offer some ideas based on my years of research and practice and discussions with other experienced meditators. First, as I explained above, I truly believe practicing mindfulness helps us learn how to become more compassionate toward ourselves, which evidence suggests is intertwined with being more compassionate toward others. One study I often cite, especially when teaching physiotherapists or psychotherapists rather, and students who are training to become therapists, demonstrates how we treat ourselves is highly correlated with how we treat others. When therapists rated how compassionate they were with themselves versus how critical and self-blaming, their ratings correlated highly with how they related to their patients. It's just as the wise monk from London taught me years ago. What we practice becomes stronger. If you think about it, we are relating to ourselves 24 hours a day. We are practicing this way of relating constantly. So if mindfulness truly does, as I believe, involve a kind, open, curious attitude toward yourself, it builds the self-compassion that helps foster compassion toward others. That's why I tell my students, cultivate self-compassion, do it for your future patients. I think it is important to clarify, however, that self-compassion doesn't mean we are always filled with happiness and loving kindness. Simply put, what it means is that our awareness of what's happening is always kind, always compassionate, and even if I'm feeling angry or frustrated, I am embracing my experience with a compassionate awareness. When we begin to welcome our experience in this way, we are better able to be with it, see it clearly, and respond appropriately to it, and research suggests will be strengthening the skills that help us extend compassion toward others. In this way, I like to think of mindfulness as a big cooking pot. I put all my experiences into this pot. This pot is always kind, always welcoming, even if the stuff I put into it is not, such as anger, sadness, and confusion. I cook all of it, the pain, the confusion, the anger, the joy, steadily, consistently holding it in this kind, compassionate pot of mindfulness. By relating to my experiences in this way, I am better able to digest and receive nourishment from them, just as when you put a raw potato in a pot and cook it for many hours, it becomes tasty and nourishing. Another way that mindfulness cultivates compassion is that it helps us see our interconnectedness. For example, let's say that the left hand has a splinter in it. The right hand would naturally pull out the splinter, right? The left hand wouldn't say to the right hand, "Oh, thank you so much, you're so compassionate and generous." The right hand removing the splinter is simply the appropriate response. It's just what the right hand does because the two hands are part of the same body. So I think the idea is you think of somebody else who's not in the same body in the same sort of way. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you begin to see that we're all part of the same body, that I, as the right hand, actually feel you, the left hand's pain, and I naturally want to help. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So mindfulness cultivates this interconnectedness and clear seeing, which leads to greater compassion and understanding of the mysterious web in which we all are woven. A third reason mindfulness appears to cultivate empathy and compassion is that it guards against the feelings of stress and busyness that make us focus more on ourselves and less on the needs of other people. This was famously demonstrated in the classic Good Samaritan experiments conducted by John Darley and Daniel Baston in the 1970s. Darley and Baston assigned seminary students at Princeton University to deliver a talk on the Good Samaritan. While on their way to their presentation, the students passed someone working with the researchers who was slumped over and groaning. The researchers tested all kinds of variables to see what might make the students stop to help, but only one variable mattered: whether or not the students were late for their talk. Only 10% of the students stopped to help when they were late. More than 6 times as many helped when they were not in a hurry. The study suggests that people are not inherently morally insensitive, but when we're stressed, scared, hurried, it's easy to lose touch with our deepest values. You know what? I've never really thought about that. This is kind of an aside, maybe not the best rant for my professional channel, maybe more suitable for my personal channel, but I feel like people in the modern USA are just busy all the time, busy, work, school, hobbies, or whatever, and nobody just like kind of has a lot of time to kill, it feels like, and just like hangs around the way they used to. And the study suggests that you can lose touch with your values if that's the case. That's kind of a scary message there. By helping us stay attuned to what's happening around us in the present moment, regardless of the time, mindfulness helps us stay connected to what is most important. As the Zen monk Suzuki Roshi teaches, I don't know, wonder if he plays the violin. The most important thing to remember, the most important thing is to remember the most important thing. Yeah, that's true. For me, the most important thing is to continue to explore with an open heart and mind what mindfulness truly is and help illuminate how it can be of greatest benefit. We clearly do not have all the answers yet. I think what is most interesting is to ask the questions. As Rilke said, have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. The exploration of mindfulness requires great sensitivity and a range of methodological glasses. Our science and our lives will benefit by looking through all of them, illuminating the richness and complexity of mindfulness. So this is Shauna Shapiro. We've heard from her quite a bit, including the same parts of this story, kind of repeated it again and again, which is not necessarily bad. It helps to learn. Repetition helps with learning. So we don't have to read this. And look at that. There's just... and then there was one. So there's only one reading to go. And then for the rest of this week, I just need to ease into those formal and informal. And then I'll be good to go. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. If it's short, I'll knock it off in one go. If it's not short, then I might take... So it's the longest one yet. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to get through that. It's too long for this video. That's as I said, I'm trying to reset my sleeping patterns, get to bed a little bit early, and this video has a lot of my camera going wrong at the beginning and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be it. In the next video, I'll finish up the reading, and then sometime during this week, easing back into finishing up week 7, I'll complete the supplemental and informal practices that I have left, and then next week, that'll be the end, thankfully, and I'll get back to the good stuff, the tech stuff. I'll probably get to the AWS cert. I also want to get PCAP Python certs. So lots of good stuff to come. Back to the core content of this channel, which is it's a public learning channel specifically for computer literacy. All right, so that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.